Yo, it is I once again, Mister Speciale. It is now about 4:23 p.m. here on Sunday, May 3rd. I'd like to point out tomorrow is May 4th, Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. I'll probably make some type of post about that tomorrow as well. Hope everybody's doing okay. So here is the second part of, and really the last part about the printer section that I'm going to cover. But to me, in the corporate environment, it is the most important. Now, if you're thinking about maybe doing some freelance IT work and doing things like running your own little like own personal business, helping people out with the computers, like say up in Indian Springs or in your neighborhood in Las Vegas or so, then then the home printer situation, supporting the Wi-Fi printers, supporting multiple devices, supporting printers directly plugged into PCs, knowing how to fix them a little bit, knowing how to at least identify what's wrong with them, if it's worth even just replacing the printer instead of fixing it, that kind of stuff you're going to see. If you're working in a company, then you're dealing with a print server. So what is that? And I'm going to read it directly right from over here. Some printers require a separate print server to enable network connectivity because these printers do not have built-in network device interfaces. I call shenanigans on that. Every printer has the ability to connect to the network in some fashion because you could share it off of a PC, and you can, in most cases, plug in a network cable and plug it right into the wall like I have in my classroom. So I don't like how they worded that. But a print server lets multiple computer users, regardless of device or operating system, access a single printer. A print server has three functions: um, to provide client access to printers, administrate print jobs, and provide feedback to users about the state of the printer. The third one isn't really so much something that you see. The first two are what's important. Okay. So really what the concept is this, and we've already kind of discussed it without you knowing it, right? So I have a printer. If I connect it directly to my PC and then share it, anybody on my network can then print to that printer. A print server is where you make every connection of printer in your organization go through that server. So that way, when a user is sitting in an area and they can search the organization for a list of printers and then print to any printer in the company. Um, and why you want to run everything through a print server then would be the second part, where you, as the IT person, can administer print jobs. Plenty of times, someone sent a print job to a printer through a print server. That's like I hit this, and I told it to make 500 copies by accident. You, as the IT person, could go into that print server and kill that print job and save the paper and save the ink and save the resources. So that's really, and I can't even tell you how many times I've actually done that on the job. Okay. So those are the main things that you're looking to do, right? Software print servers. In some instances, a computer sharing a printer is running an operating system that's not Windows, such as Mac. In that case, you can use print server software. On a Macintosh, they actually have the Bonjour, French for hello, printer service where you could share printers through that, and you have to use some third-party software. Windows just does it automatically, so you don't have to worry about it. That's just what they're talking about on this section. You can read this on your own. This is not something that you really see too much in the real world. Now, this diagram here, and we should be at least a little familiar with what this looks like because we had looked at how a network should be drawn out and the common icons that we use when we map out what a network is supposed to look like, right? So you have this Apple iPad is connected wirelessly, this Android phone is connected wirelessly to this Wi-Fi router. You have hardwire connections from this laptop, this Mac, and this Windows PC, and then you have a print server where this printer is connected to that print server. That printer is shared, and now it's accessible by everybody else in the network. But I can tell you that in many cases on a print server, you can have 50, 60, 70, 100 printers. Okay. And the nuance of that is it could be handled through wired or wireless connections. Notice that there, right? So to talk about that layout for a second, right? To describe this in a little bit more full detail. In our classroom, my classroom, I got two printers. I got the color printer in the corner by where Tyson and Nico sits, for those in the fifth period class. And I got the black and white printer on my desk. They connect right to the network. Each printer has its own IP address. You put in that IP address information in the print server, share that IP address and its printer information, have the print drivers on there so that then I'm sitting at a computer and I want to connect to that printer. I go to the IP address of that print server, see which ones are shared out, find the printer that I need based on the name, because you're going to have a name for that, right? Like my printers are all named for the portable number that we're in. I think it's portable 61, okay, is my classroom. Find that printer, connect to it, and then that printer comes up on your computer as if it's connected directly to your computer, but it's actually shared off a print server that's located in another room, probably in one of Mr. Norton's the wiring closet that's next to the glass case at the front of the school, or someplace else that in the building. So print servers allow for multiple connections of different printers, and you manage all the drivers and everything all on one box. That way all these different devices can just connect to one spot to get all the printers in an area. From my computer at school, say I'm like, I got to print something for Barbara, but she needs it, I can't leave the classroom, so I could just find her printer, connect to it, and then print my document to her printer in her classroom. Okay, and that can be very valuable because now you're talking about a time-saving trick that corporations can leverage to keep people more productive. That makes the environment more geared to how comfortable users work, so that they don't have to run around the whole building looking for their printouts for things. Um, and it makes it, from an administrative standpoint, all the printers are going through one print server. You, as the IT person, you're in charge of that server a lot of times, where that's your job, and you can manage all the drivers. If there's updates for printers, you do the update on the print server. You don't have to worry about pushing that update to every computer in the company. You just do it in one spot. That was my job at Bally when I first started there. I was Print01 and Print02. That was the name of the two servers. And I managed all the photocopiers and all the printers in the entire company, unless it was someone's personal printer on their desk connected directly to their PC. Any corporate printer I managed. And there were plenty of times where people would call up and call IT up and go, I sent a thing to the printer. I sent it to the wrong one. Could you kill that job? I'd go into the print server, find a job in the queue, and kill it. But I say you find a job in the queue, you can look and see. It comes up a little dialog box. I really can't replicate it on my computer at home here, but it comes as a little dialog box. You can see this print job came from this PC at this time, going to this printer. This is how many pages, how much size, how much the file size is, and stuff. And you can just right click it and say delete job, and then you kill it. And if it's already printing, you can kill it and it'll stop after it does the last full page typically. Um, it is a very powerful thing. People are married to their printers, and that's the other thing too. Before I even go any further, I don't think there's too much more. Uh, this is more what I just described. The dedicated print server, right, is how we have it here in at school, right? You have the dedicated print server. You got printers all over the school building, and you can connect to any of them once you know how to get to the print server. You have a corporate network. I want to explain something here too. Say you work for a company that you have to use a VPN connection to connect to the corporate network. So you're sitting at home on your laptop, you connect to the corporate network, you can connect to the printers there at work. Say you're sitting home, you called in sick, but you got to take care of something for work. And the person's calling you and they're like, hey, I need a printout of that report. You can VPN in to the corporate network, connect to the printer in that person's office, and send it to their printer. Boom. Now, you might be asking, well, why didn't you just email it to them and then they can print it? And that's true. You can. Um, and I personally don't understand why this is all that important when you can do just that. But people are married to their printers. It's like a core function of someone using a computer in a workspace to be able to print. And I don't always get it. I think it's sort of silly. The thing I just described to you, VPN in to connect to a print server to print right to that person's printer, that's really cool. I could send an email and just have them print it whenever they need it. It's the same thing. Google Drive, shared a document. Duh, takes 2 seconds. And I think a lot of the infrastructure around printing was made in a time that we didn't have cloud services like Google Drive or Dropbox and stuff like that. So you'll have a lot of people that aren't as technologically savvy will turn around and go, don't share it to me on Google. I'll never see that. Could you just print it for me? Because they're living in the 1970s. But that's how people work, and you have to respect that, and you have to be able to work around it. So this is much more the environment that we have at our school. I guess is what we're trying to say. And check your understanding. All right, I'll check my understanding. The server accepts incoming print jobs from computers, therefore feeding computers other tasks. However, it can only manage one printer. Hardware. Used in large network environment to manage multiple printers at a time. Dedicated. This computer sharing printer uses its own resources to manage software. It must have a powerful processor, adequate storage space, and memory. I'm going to say dedicated. I literally have not tried this. This is my first run through it. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. Let me see the last thing here. Oh, vendor guidelines. Yeah, okay. Make sure you have the right parts for stuff. That's really what that says. I'm pretty much done with that. Okay. This goes into troubleshooting and preventive maintenance. We'll go through some of this when we get back to school, like next year. I'm going to incorporate some of these standards and topics and start building my document of how I'm going to teach next year and figure things out and start writing the lesson plan. So we'll incorporate a lot of this into next year so that we're aware of it. So I'm going to end my videos now. I'll probably make another gym kit for these sections that we just went through for you to try. And I hope everybody's being safe. I hope everybody's well. And I'll speak to you all soon. Later.